comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
Ooh, what's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I'm MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, as mentioned last week, we are talking about the first set of October 2022 Funko Pop announcements, which there hasn't been exactly too many, which is understandable because especially last weekend was New York Comic Con. So Funko was kind of a little bit busy kind of preparing for that. So there wasn't that many of announcements, but some of the announcements that were announced were pretty solid. We're going to get into discussion, obviously, about them, but also we have two segments to kick off the podcast beforehand, which first off is What's the Haps, which we have done that segment a dozen times, in which we haven't done one in like 2 months, I want to say. And then the other one is going to be a prediction segment, which I will get into what that will be when we get to that segment. But without further ado, we might as well kick off with the What's the Haps segment. So What's the Haps, for those brand new to the podcast, is the segment where we talk about what TV shows or movies we have been watching the last little bit now, and especially what video games we played or anything that has been happening in our lives as of late, which, like usual, we will kick off with MD Shady. So what's the haps with you?
What is the haps with me? Well, we are now falling into my favorite season of the year, which is fall, due to a couple reasons with Halloween and, of course, my birthday fastly approaching. So I have been watching a lot of Halloween-themed movies, such as Halloween 1 and 2 I did watch. I still have to watch Halloween Town High, as well as the Return to Halloween Town, I believe, are the other two movies. I watched Hocus Pocus 1, which I've never actually seen before, and I really enjoyed that movie quite a bit. And then, of course, I had to follow up right after finishing it with watching the new Hocus Pocus 2, which was okay. I also rewatched The Nightmare Before Christmas, and then I've also been watching some Pixar films to get my mind re-educated for our fandom-related podcast that is on Pixar. So far I have watched Toy Story, which of course I've seen a million times. I watched Cars 1. I do have to watch some movies from Pixar that I haven't seen yet, such as Brave, The Good Dinosaur, or whatever it's called, as well as Luca. I haven't seen that movie either. So I think that's about it for Pixar movies that I haven't seen. So I'll probably be watching them in the very near future. As far as other things go, I actually just got back from golfing, which was awesome. I haven't golfed in about 2.5 months because I've been pretty busy with the YouTube channel as well as work and haven't really had a lot of time off to go golfing. So my golf game at the beginning was kind of a little bit rocky, but as soon as I got into the middle of things, it's like it never left. So that was good. And I also just joined my first ever NHL fantasy draft, which is pretty sweet. It's with one of my buddies from work and 8 of his other buddies. So we drafted our teams, and I was very happy with the team that I drafted. So yeah, I'm really excited about the fantasy draft. I think it's a really cool idea, and I could potentially win some money at the end of it, which is awesome. And tonight is the Washington Capitals versus Boston Bruins, I think, is the season opener. So I'm very excited. I think I have 6 or 7 players between each team for my fantasy. So I'm hoping that they do well. Hopefully Ovechkin, if he can score a goal or two, maybe get an assist, that'd be great. And I just can't wait for NHL hockey to be back on TV so that we can watch it, as well as always updating my picks on the Tim Hortons app, which it looks like DK might be doing right now, as I mentioned NHL. But game-wise, besides like screwing around with the fantasy draft, I've been playing a few games on my phone, but that's about it. I haven't really touched my Xbox in a while, or played PC for that matter. Reason for that is because I have decided that at the end of this month or early into November, I probably will be buying the Xbox Series X. But I guess that's basically it besides working. So DK, what's the haps with you?
All right, what's the apps with me? So first off, not a lot of Fortnite actually, because the new season happened at the end of September, or that's only been a couple of weeks ago, but the new season started and the tier 100 skin isn't all that great. It's Spider-Gwen. plus also because of the YouTube channel. So I haven't really been playing any video games all that much. But speaking of NHL, yes, Tim Hortons Hockey Challenge is back. I was loading up the Tim Hortons app as you were talking about that because I wanted to confirm that it is Boston Bruins versus Washington Capitals since all the games have been listed. I'm actually currently 203rd place in the Tim Hortons app, so that's pretty sweet. Then I've been watching a decent amount of wrestling, surprisingly, considering I've been busy with the channel. Extreme Rules was this past weekend. Bray Wyatt came back. It was sweet. And then also, I plan to actually watch AEW for the first time in a while tonight, considering that they are live in Toronto, which is really close to us. So I kind of want to see how the Toronto crowd reacts. And then as terms to watching things on, let's say, Disney Plus or whatever, I guess the closest thing as of late would be She-Hulk and Andor, even though I'm more caught up on She-Hulk than I am on Andor. And then as MD mentioned about Pixar movies, yes, something that I was going to announce on this podcast is that originally we were going to have just a straight up Coco podcast in November, but now we decided to switch it up and actually make it an all Pixar podcast talking about all 26 feature films of Pixar, in which I have been shredding watching Pixar movies. I started off with Toy Story, and I think the latest movie I've watched in the yearly release order was Cars 2. Yeah, not entirely the biggest fan of that movie. And it's not the first time I've seen that movie, but it is not the greatest. And I think the next one I have to watch is Brave. And then last but not least, I guess I should mention that as of late at work, I am soon going to be getting a promotion and a pay raise, which is pretty sweet. So can't wait for that. I'm going to be starting training for, I guess, this new position very soon. So I mean, yeah, pay raise is always great because then that means more Funko Pops for more pop hunts for you guys to watch on the channel. So yeah, that is what's the haps with me. Anyways, guys, moving on to our prediction segment, which the predictions is for the upcoming Winter Convention 2022. Some people might know what I'm talking about. Some people might not know. So I'm going to go into a little bit of description. We all seen that first leak per se on the one My Hero Academia pop that had a Winter Convention 2022 exclusive sticker, and it kind of had people wondering what this Winter Convention was. Is it LA Comic-Con? Is it possibly a festival of fun? Again, because we had that last year when Emerald City Comic-Con was in December. But I think Funko officially confirmed that it's going to be a convention they are going to called CCXP, which stands for Comic-Con Experience, which is a big convention that happens in Brazil in the first weekend of December, I believe. I think it's December 2nd to December 5th. So it does fall into that, I guess, wintry month, even though technically first week of winter is not until like the middle of December, but it is what it is. Cool that we're having some sort of winter convention, because I thought it was always odd that we had a spring convention, a summer convention, and a fall convention, but no winter convention. So now in 2022, if you had all, I guess, 4 of the stickers, even though there wasn't a spring convention, that technically was WonderCon, since Emerald City Comic Con was in August this year. MD Shady is going to be making his Funko Pop and I think Funko Soda predictions for this convention, considering I had already done a video by myself at the beginning of last month talking about these, and we are unsure about the possibility, depending on when you're listening to this, of a potential like leaked list. I know there's been sporadic leaks, which I don't really know of much of what has been leaked because I don't concentrate on all of that. If you know about these leaks, please keep them to yourselves, for obviously the ones that are viewing this podcast and essentially don't want to listen to those leaks, even though I feel like I'm the only person in the world that does not like leaks. But anyways, MD Shady is going to make his predictions right now for this winter convention that is scheduled to happen in December.
You are definitely not the only person who doesn't like leaks. Unfortunately, I did see a couple pretty fire, not going to lie, but we're not going to talk about that. So because this is WinterCon and such a weird thing, we don't really know like a format to go by. Normally when we do these prediction lists, we kind of look at previous years of these different cons and what they get and what could be a possibility. But I'm kind of going in dry here. So I have picked 5 different pops, no sodas, that I think are not out of the realm of possibility, and stuff that maybe just seems like should have already been released, but we haven't seen yet. And I feel like all 5 of these pops do pertain to me and something that could possibly be in my collection. So I'm going to start off with the one pop that probably wouldn't make it in my collection. And I think we're going to see a new Andor pop. I don't know which character. I've only watched one episode so far of Star Wars Andor, but I do think that it would make sense that we do get a con exclusive Andor type pop, whether it is Andor himself or it is Mothra or someone else from the series. I do think that it would be cool to see one at WinterCon. And then getting into the pops that I would like to see, I think we will see a new Power Rangers and TMNT mashup pop. This is kind of tough to pick because I don't know exactly how they're going to go about this. The Green Ranger Shredder pop kind of threw everything off for me. I thought that it was going to be the Turtles and the good guys like Casey Jones and April O'Neil that would be the Power Rangers themselves, and then you would have the villains be other villains in Power Rangers. But I went with Casey Jones as Alpha 5. It's kind of a long shot. I don't know if they would do Casey Jones as Alpha 5. Then the second pop I have, or the third pop, I guess you could say, on here is a Simpsons pop. And I went with Snake. I feel like Snake is a character that needs a pop that we haven't got it yet. We have a lot of different Simpsons pops that are the same character in different attires, such as the Stupid Sexy Flanders that we seen last year. So I don't know. I feel like we need a brand new character that isn't a like a variant of a character that we already have. So I'm going with Snake. Then I feel like at a lot of the recent cons, we've been seeing products for Emperor's New Groove, which I am not mad by because I love collecting this stuff. I love that movie a lot. So I feel like we probably could get a new pop here. And I'm kind of going with the same route as The Simpsons, where I don't think this is going to be another variant such as Devil Kronk or Angel Kronk or like the cat version of Yzma, stuff like that. I think this is going to be a brand new character. And I'm going to go with Rudy. I think this is a long shot, but I think that with WinterCon, it is kind of different. So I feel like they might do something surprising like that. Going with Rudy. And if you don't know who Rudy is, that is the old man from the beginning of the movie that ends up getting thrown out of the palace, I guess you could say, by Cusco. And I think that there is definitely some possibility for this pop to look really, really cool, especially if we do get it one day, hopefully at WinterCon. And then lastly, I have a pop that I have been begging for quite a while now. And I feel like this is the pop that really is late. And that is Mac Tonight for the McDonald's lineup. I feel like I just don't understand why this hasn't been made into a pop yet. Mac Tonight is a beloved character, and we're hearing of some characters that are possibly being made in the near future that aren't really as well known as Mac Tonight. So I don't see why Mac Tonight wouldn't be a con exclusive, and I feel like the time is now.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Podcast to get 10% off.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code of Funko Podcast for 10% off.
All right, so now we are going to move on to the Funko Pop announcements that I've kicked off October 2022, which the first one starts off with October 4th, but these range from October 4th to, I believe, October 10th. But kicking off with October 4th, Funko had confirmed on the Funko app of the new Geico Gecko Pops that are being given away on the Geico website, which there are 4 different versions. We have a green one, an orange one, a white glow-in-the-dark version, and then a gold 100-piece version of the Geico Gecko, which these are sporadically being given away, which as of recording this podcast, the green one is currently given away, and I believe this upcoming Friday, which should be when this podcast releases, the next Geico Gecko will be released, unknown of which one that will be yet. On that same day, Entertainment Earth had announced a previews exclusive glow-in-the-dark Nightcrawler Pop Deluxe, a part of the X-Men lineup, which that's expected to release as early as January 2023. Then on October 5th, Funko had confirmed on the Funko app of the new Bella Poarch with Axe for the Rocks lineup, which will be a Funko Shop exclusive. unknown of when that will be releasing, but I believe very soon she is doing a autograph signing, and I think that's when the pop is being released. Then on October 6th, Walmart had announced various exclusive pops of theirs, which the first one we have ourselves here is a Michael Scott, Dwight Schrute, and Jim Halpert Utica 3-pack from The Office, along with a Boba Fett pop comic covers from Star Wars, a glow-in-the-dark Ryomen Sukuna pop deluxe from Jujutsu Kaisen, a glow-in-the-dark Aang with Momo pop and tea bundle, and a Rudy pop VHS covers from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And all of these exclusives are ranging from different dates as early as December 2022 to March 2023. On October 7th, Funko had announced a She-Hulk glitter pop for the She-Hulk lineup, which that's expected to release as early as January 2023. Then on October 8th, FAO Schwartz has announced their own exclusive pop of a toy soldier with crystals, which is available now at the FAO Schwartz store. Then on October 10th, Funko had announced new pop trading cards for the NBA lineup, which we have ourselves Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, Jamorant, and Zion Williamson, which all of them have their own Panini exclusive versions, which these are expected to release as early as January 2023. And last but not least, we have ourselves the next pop involved in the Disney Villains Assemble Pop Deluxe set exclusive to Hot Topic, which is of Maleficent with Diablo, in which this is expected to release as early as December 2022. So kicking off with the Geico Gecko Halloween version, so Geico-ween Gecko, and these are all right. I mean, I'm sure we all want the regular Geico Gecko in pop form, and I'm assuming, judging by these, there's obviously gotta be a regular one on the way as a common. I can only assume. I mean, I do like the color schemes that they use, besides maybe the gold matte or chrome one. I do like the green color. I wish that was the glow in the dark one besides the white one, because we all know that green is a great color, glow in the dark. And then the orange one's all right. It goes with the Halloween theme, and then the white goes with the skeleton outfit, so that makes sense. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the gold one, especially being only limited to 100 pieces. So I wonder how much that's going to be on the aftermarket. Then we have ourselves the new glow-in-the-dark Nightcrawler, and this thing is awesome. I like the detail involved with the base that's involved. You have the, I guess, sound effects in words there involved with that base. It glows in the dark, and I actually seen a video that Funko posted of what this pop actually looks like glow in the dark besides what you see in the glam shot, and it looks great. The base glows and the eyes glow, and it looks fantastic. I mean, we already talked about the regular comic book version of Nightcrawler for the X-Men lineup. I want to say it might have been last week or the week before, and now we have a deluxe one, which this is wicked. I mean, if you're going to choose one or the other, you might as well get this one, in my opinion. Then we got ourselves the Bella Poarch with Axe, and this is okay. I mean, it's not too different from the original one, but I mean, I would assume maybe they put this as a pop because it has to do with one of her music videos. I would only assume that, because otherwise, why would she be holding an axe? But nonetheless, I mean, it looks similar to the common one, except it's got some sort of item in her hand, and I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to want to get it. Then we got ourselves the Utica 3-pack of Michael, Dwight, and Jim, and this is awesome. Finally, I have been waiting so long for a Utica 3-pack involving these three characters. It's one of my favorite moments in The Office, and they made it in a pop form. We had a bit of a teaser with the new Funko mini moments that they've made, where the chase figures for Jim, Michael, and Dwight are the Utica versions, and they look great. I love, obviously, the Monopoly Man mustache on Dwight Schrute. You got the dark black mustache on Michael Scott, and then just the brown mustache there on Jim Halpert, and they all have different items in their hand. That's really cool. I really enjoy this 3-pack. Next up, we have ourselves the Boba Fett comic covers from Star Wars, and this is pretty sweet. I mean, we had the Luke Skywalker one announced a few months ago, and now we have Boba Fett, and I like how they're continuing that theme of the cool backgrounds for the boxes here. We have the glow-in-the-dark deluxe pop from Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm not even going to attempt the name again. This looks pretty decent, especially with what they're showing with the glow-in-the-dark aspects, where you have essentially, I would assume it's the face tattoos, the hair being red, and then you have the outfit and the pile of bones there, skull heads, I should say, being blue. And I think this looks decent. I just don't want to get my hopes up when I see this pop and then like people making videos on it and then the glow's not as good as it should be. But overall, it looks decent so far. And I mean, it's another pop for the Jujutsu Kaisen lineup. So anyone looking for a complete set, there you go. Then we have ourselves the Pop and Tea bundle of Aang with Momo from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I mean, this is all right. I mean, the glow in the dark effect looks all right. I mean, with the like arrow, once again, I don't know if it's a tattoo because I haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, but also the swooshing effect is also going to be the glow in the dark aspect, which I think is all right. And I mean, the t-shirt looks great. And then, of course, I'm not going to get into about the box because we all know how stupid the boxes are now for Pop and Tea bundles. Next up, we have ourselves Rudy from Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the Pop VHS covers, and this is pretty decent. I mean, the cover itself is scary as hell, and then now we have a pop to go along with that, which is pretty decent. I mean, I don't think, obviously, we had a Rudy pop before. I think it was just like Spike, Shorty, and Jumbo, I think their name were. I don't exactly know. I have not seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But overall, this VHS covers is pretty decent. And I mean, it's a cool one for horror movie fans, I guess I could say, because there isn't that many, I guess, horror-related VHS covers besides maybe that glow-in-the-dark Halloween one that we got announced a couple months back. So it's cool that we have another one, I guess, for the horror fans. Next up, we have ourselves the Glitter She-Hulk from She-Hulk. And this is pretty decent. I think this is actually the first pop for the She-Hulk lineup that involves She-Hulk herself. We already had the Jennifer Walters pop from, I believe, the first set of pops announced when the show was just starting out. And now we have She-Hulk here from the more recent episode. I won't get into the details because obviously MD Shady has not seen She-Hulk from what I last remember. So I can't really spoil exactly what happens in the scene involved with her with this dress. But overall, I guess it's cool that they made it a little bit glitter because the fact that her dress was very shiny in that episode. And I can't wait for the season finale, which happens tomorrow as we're recording this podcast, but it should be released by the time this podcast releases. Next up, we have the Toy Soldier from FAO Schwartz, and this time it has crystals instead of being a Diamond Collection chase for the common, and I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it looks cool, but it doesn't at the same time. I mean, it looks cool because it reminds me of like the Dazzled Pop. Reminds me of that when people take the crystals to it. And I believe actually MD Shady made one with the Pikachu a few months back, and he actually showed it off on the channel. Now we have one basically here with the FAO Schwartz Toy Soldier. Next up, we have the Pop trading cards. And I mean, these are all right. I mean, I still think that the Pop trading cards should have been pocket pops with then having the actual size of a trading card to go along with it to be more accurate, unlike this. And I mean, they're all right. I mean, I like the backgrounds of like, I think they're calling it the mosaic cards. But my problem with these is I can't really tell the difference on the Panini exclusives compared to the commons. Besides, the only difference I might be able to see is that there's some sort of design within the basketball there where it's more yellowy instead of just being completely orange. Otherwise, I can't really tell the different design on it if it's not that. So I don't really see what's special, especially because they are all in the same outfit for both the common and the Panini exclusive. So these are meh. I would only be interested if they had made, let's say, NHL cards, even though it's Upper Deck that has the license to make NHL cards. Or maybe if they did like WWE ones, because I know Panini has the license to make WWE cards. And last but not least, we have ourselves the Disney Villains Assemble Maleficent with Diablo exclusive to Hot Topic, and this is not too bad. I mean, I kind of like this better than the Dr. Facilier that we talked about a week or two ago on the podcast. I mean, you have that platform, which is pretty detailed, especially with, I don't know, it's supposed to be some sort of flag that's ripped off, but at first I thought it was like paint dripping, but I mean, the detail on it looked too detailed to be paint. It looks all right, and I kind of want to see how this set ends up looking, especially because we know the last pop that needs to be announced is Ursula, whenever that will be, whether it is sometime in this month of October or maybe it'll be kicking off November possibly. But this is pretty decent. It's not the best, but it's not the worst pop from this set.
All right, so starting off with the Geico Geckos, these are pretty sweet. I'm really excited about this because, yeah, clearly we will be getting a regular version of the Geico Gecko. At least you could assume. And these aren't bad at all. I have been trying to obtain them through the Geico Funko app, or not app, but website. Pretty much every day, I've been putting my email in trying to win, and nothing yet. I have read a lot of comments of people saying that they try on multiple browsers like 100 times a day and don't win anything. But it's cool that you do get some downloadable stuff. If you don't win, you can get coloring pages, you can get videos for your Instagram story, you can get like printable Geico Gecko masks for Halloween. So at least they give you something fun to do, even if you don't win. So that's pretty cool. And overall, all four of these are decent. The gold one is more of a grail piece than a pop that I think people would actually want. The green one I do like, and I do agree with DK. It'd be better if that one was the glow in the dark one because of how good green glows. And overall, it seems to be the best one. The white one's not bad either because you get more of that traditional like skeleton outfit kind of look with it. So I guess it is kind of cool that that one is the glow in the dark one. Then moving on to the Nightcrawler. This is a sweet pop, and I do agree with DK. I would prefer to get this one over the one that we just talked about last week because you get this cool base with the comic words on it as well, which is awesome. The glow seems to be promising, so that's pretty cool. This is a sweet pop, and if I do plan on getting a Nightcrawler pop at some time, it probably will be this one. Then we have the next Bella Poarch pop, and this is okay. I like this one better than the original one we got, but I just don't understand why we even got that original one where this is clearly the better one. I believe this is from, what is it called? The Build a music video. DK might have to bleep that out. I don't know. But I do believe near the end of the video, she does have the axe and she's breaking out of whatever she's confined to. So this pop's pretty sweet. And if I do end up getting a Bella Porch pop, this will probably be the one rather than the one that we had talked about last week. And then finally, we have the Utica 3-pack. This is awesome. Me and DK have both wanted this for a while. Seemed like we weren't going to get it, at least for a while. And now we finally do, which is awesome. I think all three pops look great. And it's a Walmart exclusive, which pretty excited about that. That makes it a little more easily obtainable for us. And it's not a limited piece count or anything like that, which is great because I could see them doing maybe even if it was like a 4,000 or 5,000 piece with a set like this, because I feel like a lot of Office fans definitely wanted the Utica 3-pack. And yeah, now we finally have it. This is awesome. Can't wait to get my hands on one. Then we have the next Star Wars comic book cover with Boba Fett, and this is pretty sweet. I really like how this looks. I love how the colors of the pop matches the comic itself perfectly. I love Star Wars comic books. I love pops. This does seem like something I will end up buying, whether I keep it for myself or giving it away to someone that I know that collects Boba Fett, which I have been buying Funko products for him. Yeah, I definitely will end up buying this at some point. So yeah, this is awesome. I love how the box looks. They're keeping that design for the comic book covers for Star Wars, which I think is great. Overall, this thing has a lot of color. It pops. It's a character that people love with Boba Fett, and I think this is going to sell very well. Next up, we have the Walmart exclusive glow in the dark pop from Jujutsu Kaisen, and this is decent. I really like how the base looks. The pose on the figure is pretty cool too, how he is sitting on those skulls. So that's pretty sweet. The glow in the glam shot looks crazy. It looks really awesome. But when you look at the pop itself, I don't think this is going to glow very well. I would like to be optimistic about it and say, hey, this is going to be sweet, but I just don't see those colors glowing like a green would glow, for instance. So I don't know, but I hope I'm wrong about that and that it does glow very, very well because from that glam shot, that looks amazing. And then we have the Pop and Tea bundle of Aang with Momo, and this is pretty sweet. Poppin' buddies are always cool to get, and I feel like this is a perfect poppin' buddy. I feel like we have seen an Aang pop with Momo before where he was just to the side, but now he's on his head, and it's a little bit more dynamic with the posing, which is cool. And the shirt matches it perfectly, which I generally like with Pop and Tea bundles, unless they come up with a really awesome design. But I do think that that design is simplistic. It's on a nice black t-shirt. this is cool. I can see this selling pretty well for Avatar fans. And then next up, we have the next VHS covers, which is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And this was pretty cool to see because the day that this was announced, I actually seen someone while I was out and about wearing a Killer Clowns from Outer Space t-shirt, which was the exact same art that we see on this cover. And then I saw that this was announced and I was like, oh, that's kind of a coincidence. That's kind of funny. This looks great. I love how this looks. We have the Rudy pop now, which I think matches very well. I kind of wish the mouth was open on the Rudy to match the cover a little bit more, but overall, this is great. And I'm sure that the people who have been buying the different Killer Clowns products from Funko are definitely going to want to get this because this is arguably one of the best that we've seen. Next up, we have the Glitter She-Hulk. This is a decent pop. I like how they went with the glitter just on the dress. They didn't give her glitter on her hair and everywhere else. It's just on the dress, which is nice. I definitely do have to get around to watching She-Hulk. I have heard some good things about it besides the CGI, but I think I can get past that and watch it and probably enjoy it. So yeah, overall, this pop is decent. It's not one of my favorites, but it's not bad by any means. Now moving on to the new toy soldier for FAO Schwarz, and this is pretty sweet. Like DK had mentioned, I did do a Pikachu, which is actually right behind me, just like this with some crystals, not, what is it, Swarovski or whatever the hell, however the hell it is pronounced. I didn't use those. I used a cheaper variation. And this pop is very interesting. From my knowledge, this is actually limited to 5 pieces. And not only that, but each one retails for 2,000 American dollars. So this is quite the pop. I don't think we've ever seen a Funko Pop, I guess, produced by Funko that retails for $2,000 American. And from what I've heard, actually, the first buyer bought 2 of them, and then the other 3 that were available were bought by 3 separate people. So there is a guy who has 2 of them, and I actually seen him in a Facebook group saying that he was willing to sell one and he was going to be keeping one. What he was asking for it, I don't know, because this is definitely a pop that is going to keep its value. I mean, the value really is in the crystals that they use, as well as Funko producing this pop, which I think looks great personally, but being limited at 5,000 pieces or at 5 pieces, and also being just such a crazy grail with a retail price like that, this seems unobtainable for basically anybody if you didn't get your hands on it right when it was there with $2,000 to spend on one Funko Pop, I suppose. Then we have the new NBA trading cards, and yeah, I don't really see the difference between the exclusives and the commons. I like the idea of this, but I do like DK's idea better, where they should have been pocket pops. You have this small little cool case with the card maybe being just a little bit bigger than a normal card. I'd be fine with that, but being full size, I don't know. This seems like there's just this market of these trading cards now is just going somewhere, and I don't know where it's going, but I honestly cannot tell the difference between the commons and the exclusive. So I feel like the market is just a little saturated with these. I would have preferred if we just got the Panini exclusives and just don't have any be commons. I think that's the smart way to go about it. But I don't know. I don't own the business, so what can I say? But they're not bad, but they're not great either. And then lastly, we have the Maleficent for the villains set. And this is decent. I like this one. Definitely not my favorite from the set. I would have to say that either the Kronk and Yzma or the Scar with the hyenas, those are my 2 favorites so far. Haven't seen either in person, so I can't really give a complete summary of which one I like better. But the Maleficent is not bad. It is bringing the set together a little bit better now that I see them all side by side. But I think my opinion still stands from when we talked last about this set, that I'm not super happy about this set anymore. I do like them as separate pops, but piecing them together, it doesn't really work for me. It just doesn't look like a set that should be kind of side by side.
Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this week's podcast. If you enjoyed this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, make sure you smash that like button. Comment in the comment section below and let us know your favorite Funko Pop from the first set of October 2022 reveals. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future. and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. And if you guys haven't yet, follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Popcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, and we hope to see you guys next week. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Then we'll burn Utica to the ground. Peace in, peace out.